This is the story time of the first time that I saw my mother. Hi, that was weird. Like, I just know TikTok has really strict guidelines and, like, I just don't need to be taken down today. Something you have to know about my mother is that she was like, oh, I would never smoke again. I would never do that. Like, I'm too old for that. It's disgusting. Like, I hate people who do it. Like, that was her kind of vibe. So my mom and her ex-boyfriend used to, like, host these dinners for me, his kids, my sisters, everybody, and we would all just, like, come together and eat dinner together. This was, like, a weekly thing for us. So we're at dinner and I'm sat next to my mom, but across from mom's ex-boyfriend's son. Let's call him Chad. So I'm sitting across from Chad, and Chad and I are having a conversation. For some fucking reason, Chad and I are talking about DaBaby, the rapper. This was like 3 years ago, so like he was a vibe back then. Chad and I are talking and we're like, yeah, I love this music, I love that music, and my mom interrupts. My mom's like, Liv, you went to high school with this kid? And I'm like, no, what? Like, whose grade was he in? Was he in your grade or Sissy's grade? I'm like, Mom, we're talking about DaBaby, a rapper. She's like, I fucking heard the conversation. What high school did he go to? I'm like, somewhere in North Carolina, I don't fucking know. So I just ignore her because she always does weird shit like that, so I just go back to talking to Chad. We're still talking about DaBaby. My mother interrupts again and she's like, wait, Liv, did you date him? I'm like, Mom, what the fuck? What are you talking about? She's like, I just want to know if you dated this man. I'm like, Mom, I didn't fucking date DaBaby. Like, what do you? She's like, I want to know how you know him. I'm like, Mom, I listen to his music. It's not that fucking deep. At this point, Chad is across from me and he's like, Dina, like DaBaby, the rapper, like the song Bop. I'm like, Mom, you love the song Bop. Like, you know who we're talking about. Whatever. Chad and I go back to talking about DaBaby. My mother interrupts for a third time. She's like, Liv, when did you meet him? When did you meet him? And I'm like, Mom, what the fuck are you on right now? I never met DaBaby. Oh, fuck you, Liv. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I never thought anything of this. But then 10 minutes later, my mom's talking and she's giving some speech about something and she's making absolutely no sense. Then she just bursts out laughing. Like, she can't stop laughing, and nothing she said was fucking funny. Like, literally nothing she said was funny at all. And she's at the point where she's like uncontrollably laughing, and we're all just like looking at each other. I'm like looking at my mom's ex's sons, and we're like, what the fuck? Like, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with her? So I'm like, Mom, are you high? She's like, yeah, I did an edible 30 minutes ago. She's like, this is the best fucking edible I've ever had in my life. Her and her ex-boyfriend are like laughing and they're smiling. So they both did the fucking edible. I'm like, Mom, what? Like, you don't smoke. And she's I'm like, okay, noted. Go to part 2. So it comes to our attention that like our parents are high and we're like, really guys, like whatever. But we're like, if you guys are high, we're gonna get high too. I literally don't know what was in it, but immediately I'm like the most giggly, happy version of myself. So we all decide that we're gonna play the game Heads Up, where you put the thing on your head and it's like a famous person and you're on teams and whatever. And my mom loves that game. So she's like, we gotta play Heads Up. And we're like, bitch, we're gonna play Heads Up. At this point, I'm so high and I'm on a team with my mom and we're playing Heads Up. We're so high, we're not even talking to each other. Like, we're doing a charades version of Heads Up, which is fucking impossible. Imagine trying to be like Kourtney Kardashian, but doing it in charades. You're like, you know what I mean? But we're so high, we're not even realizing. And we're just dying fucking laughing because we just think everything is like the funniest thing ever. Like, my mom can barely breathe. She's laughing so hard. The boys are like rolling on the floor fucking laughing. Like, I don't know what was in it, but we were like giggly as ever. Mom kept being like, this is the best edible I've ever had since like 1995 or something. She literally just like kept talking about this one strain of edible that was like a dragon or something. So she kept talking about this fucking dragon strain and we were like, okay, stop with the dragon strain, bitch. Mother's still asking questions about DaBaby and I'm like, okay, having to play her a song. Like, Mom, this is who we were talking about the whole time. And she's like, oh my, I love his music. Mom's like, he's such a talented young man. I'm going to play all of his music in my Pilates classes. I'm like, Mom, I know you're high as shit. Don't play DaBaby in Pilates. We played Heads Up that night for 4 fucking hours. My mom would not let us stop playing. She was like, it's too good. It's too good. We have to keep playing. And we were like, okay. Just like high out of our minds. Like, why not? I kid you not. That is still one of my favorite nights to this day. Like, nobody was on their phone. We were all just hanging out, laughing our fucking asses off, and just, it was literally such a good fucking time. It was literally the first time and last time I actually ever saw my mother high. But that bitch is a fun high. That is the story time of how I got high with my mom for the first time. And how she literally thought I was fucking DaBaby.
My coworker adopted a kid from the Ukraine a couple years ago. Now she's going around work asking us to adopt him and writing about giving him away on Facebook. So my coworker is kind of a weirdo. I'll call her Mary for the sake of this post. Her and her husband are one of those people that have a ton of adopted kids, 8 so far, and are super religious. To each his own. Mary enjoys telling everyone at work her business, so when she decided to adopt a kid from Ukraine, everyone heard about it. She went with an older kid because it was easier for her and her husband, she says. This was 2 years ago. Mary has asked me to babysit the boy a couple times. I'll call him Tony, and it's never been a problem because I like kids. I didn't see any glaring problems despite Mary's constant dramatics about how awful the kid was, and it seemed to like being over. It's just me and my boyfriend here, and our place is small, but clean and really well kept. Mary's house is disgusting for lack of a better word. Mary would harp constantly about how much Tony liked it at our house, but I just chalked it up to the kid having a good time. Lately, Mary has been at work talking to anyone that'll listen about how awful Tony is, how horrible he is to the other kids, and how she's going to get rid of him. She sent out a freaking mass email to everyone in our department asking if someone wanted to take her kid from her. She calls it rehoming, and that it's okay. I logged onto Facebook today and same story. She has pics of Tony posted to her timeline advertising him for readoption and to contact her if interested. I haven't replied to her email yet, and I haven't commented on her post, but I'm this close to ripping into her for what she's doing. She's crossed the line from weird into full-blown psycho. Should I call CPS? I called the police just now, but they sounded completely confused on what to do. They agreed to do a welfare check. The post is still up. Is this really legal? I don't know much about adoption, and a quick search for rehoming gets me mostly results about animals. Any advice? My husband cannot accept I don't like mustard. Things came to a head yesterday. We've been married for 2 years, dating 5. We are both 34. I'm a woman. He's a man, if it matters. I'm not a picky eater. In fact, I'm quite adventurous, and every time I've traveled, I've always made it a point to try dishes with unusual/uncommon ingredients to say I've tried them. There are very few foods I won't eat. One of them is mustard, the condiment. I don't like it. I just don't. The taste is very strong and overpowering, and it's an unpleasant taste. I've tried yellow, stone ground, honey, artisan, brown, spicy, you name it. I've tried them all, and I just don't like them. My husband, for some reason, never understood this. He loves mustard, especially honey mustard. He puts it on all his sandwiches, dips his fries in it. And every time he tries to force me to try it, he'll insist I'll like it this time. I'm a grown-ass woman. I know what I don't like, and I don't like mustard. So I'll say no, and it'll devolve into a mini argument where he'll call me picky. Well, last night we were on the road home from a weekend trip we took together, and he stopped at a gas station to get us a quick bite. He got a hot dog slathered in mustard. I got one, but decided to keep it plain. I don't really love hot dogs to begin with, but I will eat them. While we waited in line, he asked what I got on mine. I told him nothing. He actually got furious and grabbed it from me. He marched over to the condiment station and began putting mustard on my hot dog, telling me to grow up and stop being picky. I just walked out and sat in the car. I didn't even want the damn hot dog anymore. My appetite was gone. He came back and began screaming at me for embarrassing him even further. The word divorce was said for the first time ever. I secretly recorded his screaming because I was genuinely afraid I would die. He was driving erratically, swerving, and speeding. I'm in a hotel tonight. He ignored me all day at work, and then the calls started around when he realized I wasn't coming home. I stopped voicemails and texts. A screenshot of a Google search from local divorce lawyers. I haven't eaten all day, and I've just been sobbing in this damn hotel room. I don't want to get divorced, and I wish I just ate the fucking mustard. Someone, anyone, please give me an explanation. Am I in danger? Why would he react this way to a preference of mine? I'm completely broken right now.
Would it be the asshole for calling an ambulance to my pregnant sister's house? My sister is currently 43 weeks pregnant and she has an off-the-grid lifestyle. She voiced that she was going to do a home birth because of the corruption in the hospitals. And her main problem with hospitals is that they're pushy and will advocate for her to vaccinate her baby and push for her to get pain meds. I respected her choice from the start, being that she told the whole family that she'd go to the hospital if there were complications. However, she has not gone to the hospital a single time because her boyfriend is also extremely anti-hospital. She's going on 43 weeks according to the date of conception. And her uterus is measuring 40 weeks. Doula doula believes that she has preeclampsia and was even trying at-home remedies to treat it. She is swelling, has pains, and her blood pressure is seriously high. My family and I have been begging her to go to the hospital, and she told us that if the baby's here by Friday or Saturday, she will. Told her about the dangers, and she said that she's worried about how her boyfriend will react if she goes to the hospital. Long story short, she said that she's not going to the hospital because she's worried that her boyfriend will react badly. This morning, she texted my family group chat saying that she believes that her morning breakfast was the cause of her high blood pressure, that it's going down, so known as she's not going to the hospital. We are all really worried about her, but I'd be wrong to send a name. I'm with Asa for letting my roommate go hungry because they cannot understand how food works. My roommate Tammy and I are both fairly limited budgets. I get a little help from my parents, so I do have a bit of a buffer from my income. I tend to make meals for myself when I have leftovers, so I skip making myself lunch or dinner later in the week. Tammy, on the other hand, makes meals precisely as she can so she doesn't waste money. Just after Christmas last year, Tammy was low on money and asked if she could please have some of my leftovers. I agreed. Instead of serving herself a small portion, she took a full portion. And about a quarter of what she took, she threw the rest in the trash. I didn't say anything. And then another thing happened 2 weeks ago. This time I asked her to please just take a little, and she said that she was really hungry, and almost the entire meal was in the trash when she was done. 2 nights ago, she asked for spaghetti, and I said no. I know it really isn't going to affect me for how she throws her meal away, but it just means that she's wasting my money on food. She isn't talking to me and is complaining to other people how I'm being cheap and letting them starve. But I'm not, because I gave her a generic mac and cheese box for her to eat. I just don't want to see my stuff go in the garbage. Thinks I'm the a-hole. So